council to order. First thing we have on our agenda is any correspondence. Anybody who received this from the health department? Anything anybody else has? Okay, the minutes from the last meeting. Did you get a chance to read those, and are there any corrections or additions to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes. Second by Tom. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any committee reports? Nothing from anybody? Okay. Any old business? Jackie, do we have anything?
No, I do not have any for old or new.
Okay, well, no new business either, so Zach isn't here yet. Okay. Can we do the transfers and the?
I don't know,
Or not.
Max, do you have anything?
I just have the CCD claims, that's it, yeah. I was here just as, is Jeff Peters not gonna be here?
Shelley canceled that this morning. She talked to Doug and so they canceled that.
Okay, that's why I came early, so I wanna hear what you had to say.
Yeah, you
So we
probably
can go ahead and do
could.
the CCD and the
Yeah, I
transfers.
don't see the reason why you couldn't, yeah.
I should have two claims in there for CCD.
Yes.
Squeeze in here real quick. We got July 14th and July 28th. One was for some ceiling tiles. Of course, we had some issues that need to be repaired and a couple of some basically echo parts for showers and water closets. So that's for the July 14th. That was for a total of $698.99. And then the July 28th was a couple housing refrigeration. We've been dealing with the freezers and coolers back there. With the temperatures in Humane going up and down, it's just been fighting that, and we're in the process of getting those repaired here shortly through Hossinger's. Torque products and then Echo parts, and the total for that CCD claim was $1,603.93.
How old are your refrigerators?
Those freezers, that freezer and refrigerator in the kitchen's original, so they've been worked on ever since, they've been put in place, so there's.
This weather just killed.
Yeah, well, you would know, yeah, so, but.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on these claims?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
do you want to approve both of them at
Both
the
of them.
same time? So it'll be a total of $2302.92. Okay, all those in favor of paying these claims, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Just so you're aware too, we did apply for the JRAC grant again, for the, jail release coordinator. We did contact, commissioners, let them know that grant was in there, so we did apply for that again as well.
Is it time for that already?
Yeah, it's a 1 year, it's a year to year.
Yeah.
We hired Casey Applegate, she didn't start till February, really didn't hit the ground running until March sometime, so funds that were approved last year, we're not gonna utilize all those, that'll go back, but then we reduce our budget a little bit operating wise. Basically, it's just salary and benefits that we're using her for out of that JRAC grant, so we gotta reapply for that again.
And you feel like this is,
Yeah, I think she's established a pretty good program. We're trying to focus on a different, on the failure to peers right now. We're trying to get that reduced. She's actually worked with 60 some of the inmates and got them help through different appointments and appointments before they're released. That's going very well. Out of the 60-some, I think 30 have been released, maybe 40 by now, and I think one is returned, but that was on a different charge. It was already pending from a different charge, so had nothing to do with what she helped that person with. So yeah, so we're going in our second year, so hopefully still building on that program.
So this has to be helping the probation department out.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that's what that's the whole deal of it. In fact, with JRAC one, it can only be used in 5 different categories, one of 5, and this is one of the areas. And I don't know how many applications they got for the grant through probation this year or not. So last year, I think they had received 3 or 4, and we were the only ones that met that criteria. So, but we're gonna reapply for that grant. Hopefully follow through with that again for next year, so.
Okay.
And then just to keep you informed, we did get some quotes. We're not asking for any money or anything like that, but probably updating our jail command system and back as far as the doors through another company. Right now, our computer programs and all the cells and locks are, we use what's a Stanley system, which was bought out by Securitas. And it's really outdated and our recording system's outdated, so we're gonna upgrade that system, but once I get commissioner approval, we'll move forward with that, but there will be no request of any funds or anything for that, just to let you know what's going on out there. So,
We're still expecting a lot of money from somewhere.
you haven't heard anything, have you? Yeah, you're still gonna get money supposedly. At the sheriff's conference, they said that it was on its way, but I've yet to see anything.
Okay.
We're still monitoring that, so, but yeah, we'll see where we're going. And we're holding about 16 to 17 fed inmates and right now housing about 180 total inmates. So,
Okay.
any other questions or concerns?
Not from me, anybody?
Okay. Very good, thank you.
Okay. Is it okay to do the other transfers?
I think we can get started on
No.
that. I'm gonna, Casey, I'm gonna send these around that you guys can sign for the CCDs.
Okay, let's look at GIS transfer.
Okay, this is from Steve Cook, the gal that he did hire for GIS analysis. Will be starting here this month, so a little bit later than what he originally thought. We had approved $30,000 to start that program. In the meantime, he's got, I think, a couple of programs that he had talked to you about. And he was a little bit short in that one, so we're asking to transfer some of that money down to cover that professional services for a couple of those programs that he's talked to you about. Not certain, did he mention what they were? That Eastern Engineering, I think, is for that plotter, that lease on that plotter. And then the other one is that cloud thing, I think that's a grant that will be coming back in, I believe, but it's $30,000, and he is just a little bit short in the CEDAC fund to pay for that, so we put a line item in his budget to cover the remainder of that, so.
Any questions, anybody? I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfer.
So moved.
Second.
Any of those in favor of approving the transfer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Casey, here's this one.
Okay, auditors,
I think this was for Shelley. She's using a college student to do a lot of the scanning down in her office. And so I think she's reducing some of her line items and putting it into part-time overtime to complete complete that process, so.
Okay. Any questions about the transfer?
Just go from fund to fund, right?
Yes, from
Make-
2 funds to
Yeah.
1 fund.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, is it?
I see Zach.
Yes,
Oh, there it is. Mark.
Zach, do you wanna, we're ready for you.
Alright.
We're ready.
We have a little bit of show and tell today, in the agenda, so this is what we've been talking about. You can see the welded sections, soldered, or however they're attaching them. That is that tungsten that is been very damaged on the roads. You saw the local newspaper here recently, we gave an update on the Ball Road construction project, which we'll get into. I mean, we had just paved it on a Tuesday and Wednesday. That Thursday, we're already getting damage, people going around barricades. I mean, yeah, does it look like huge damage? No, but you have punctures every few feet for the entire section, which, you know, that's just the start of a problem. It's like poking holes in your roof, like it's not good for the sub base. And over time, we're gonna see cracks and freeze thaw and expansion. It's a never ending fight. I guess the good news is it's mostly in our northwest section, in those 2 townships. LaGrange is been fighting the same issues for years. And out on state roads, you'll see the same areas, the shoulder lanes, I would call them, are pretty beat up. We are looking at doing expansion on 600 West that would give you those full shoulder lanes that would at least separate traffic a little bit, make it a little bit more manageable. That isn't really feasible many other places. A lot of our rural roads are kind of just stuck as is. So with that, I will jump over to the council agenda. The first item we have on here is updates on storm damage. Continuing to work through the claim. Basically, I provided the correspondence with the insurance agencies. You can kind of see what's going on there. We did have another storm event here a few weeks ago. Where basically, even though we have temporary measures in place, if we get so much water in a short time, it becomes so saturated that it pools up and will overflow to other locations. So that's the damage you're seeing. We had some pretty big storm events, not much from duration, but the intensity was high and just couldn't overcome it quick enough. So we've done some more temporary drainage repairs.
Is that another insurance claim?
I mean, it's all under the same claim. I reached out, they'll actually be here tomorrow to take a review. We've actually cleaned all the debris from the chimney out so that you can fully see above ceiling in that area. But they'll be taking another look, seeing if there's anything else that's eligible for our claim. We are continuing to work basically on all of the damaged areas that are outside of the front office building. So you can see we got a new roof on the old shop building. Continuing to work through salt barn repairs. We did a specialty order for providing materials on repairs on that. The issue with the front office building is there's just so many trades with it because it was a finished office space. So by the time you go from exterior to interior, all the structural issues in between, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, drywall, etc. There's just a lot going on there. I don't think that's something we can piecemeal or patch together. So what I'm working on is doing a detailed design specifications so we can just put it out as a full project. So working through those. Initially, you know, little bit of expertise as far as building projects now, thanks to the one we're sitting in and the one across the street. I did identify with that northwestern wall being damaged, structural steel needing replaced. I'm looking at potentially doing a small expansion renovation at the same time. We basically have, this 40 feet, give or take, of damaged wall is where we look to expand to the north. The total expansion would be right around 1,000 square feet, maybe less. But what it will do is give us a couple options. The highway's kind of landlocked. If you've been in our front office building, it's not set up great layout-wise. This would allow us to put all of our working staff, so our foremen, our inspector, all back in their own office cubicle type situation. Free up some room in the front office. On there, I think it's listed as storage, but that'd actually be a conference room. The thought being, we don't really have many enclosed offices other than mine, so whenever there's interviews, employee discipline, anything privacy related, or for meetings itself, we'd have a small conference area, which would be nice. And then it'd also expand our break room to where we could actually use it as a training room. Right now, whenever we're doing a training, we have to set it up in the shop, which means you have to clear a shop bay out, get tables and chairs, whenever we're doing chainsaw training, snowplow training, anything like that. That it would let us do that. And then bringing bathrooms up to current standards as far as ADA and capacity.
So you said it's gonna go this way? Is that
Yeah,
what
so basically, it would all be right in that damaged area, that you saw, basically the ones repairs. But since, we already have a claim, giant wall that needs replaced, has to tie into the roofing, this would seem like the better time than any to actually make some of these renovations. Still working through some of the cost on there. The thought would be to use the insurance claim and then some supplemental funding in our normal budget, which we put in our budget for next year. We also have some this year. Between all those items, I think we can make it work.
How much extra you think is that? Just a ballpark.
Honestly, I have no idea at this point. We have Wygant Construction's doing a free pre-con estimate on this based on the draft layout structure point it's put together. We're not under contract with any design services yet. These are basically just free quotes for them to draw up to give us the scope of work, both on the design fees and then also construction estimate.
When do you anticipate that to come in? Like before our budget hearing stuff or?
I mean, we already had to turn our budgets in. We'll see where we're at. I tried to keep it as reasonable as far as necessities go, so we did put some additional funding. I think it was around $150,000 additional in next year's budget. But we could potentially go to the NVH general fund, which, like the general fund that you guys oversee for everybody, we do have a healthy balance that we could pull additionals out of.
Would that be with union scale for the estimates, or would that be, that's just a general?
I don't believe there are any union requirements, but they would probably use prevailing wage regardless.
I think Wygant is, they're union, correct?
I believe so.
They're putting a package together for a budget, is that what you're saying?
They're just doing a cost estimate, so they're just gonna run it through their standard calcs. I don't think on a normal bid, you may break the labor down a bit differently, but they're just going off line item, general line item cost on like square footages for finished space, walls, roofing. And then they have the expertise as far as the tie-ins. 'Cause that's the problem, like if this was a clean slate, easily tell you what it costs to build. But trying to make some of those transitions on the existing, it's a little more challenging. Any other questions on the highway storm damage / building? Moving on, community crossings, kind of have a 3-year overview here. So community crossings 2024, we've completely closed that out. Both the closeout letters on, just so they're in your records. We've also been keeping copies of all of our grant work in the auditor's office for state board of accounts. recommendations. That basically says we're in good standing for 2026, which is good news because what would have normally been a January call is now in a state fiscal year, moved 6 months early, since it's transitional, it's actually gonna hit in October this year. So really weird year for community crossings. You would have expected 2 calls, one in January and one in July, $1.5 million. We capped that out $1.5 million, so we were gonna put in July regardless. Well, now we're in a new cycle 6 months early with a late call, which means in the year that community crossings was essentially gutted, we may end up with $2.5 million, which would be the biggest award ever. So, bit of a silver lining there. Long term, it is going to be much more competitive, but we are well positioned to again go after those funds this year. As far as our 2025 projects, we're projecting to start Bridge 33 here in the next week or two, and then for our paving projects, we'll see how the season goes. Pulvers may actually get to a few of them yet this year. That would probably be the start of their work here next June.
Where's Bridge 33?
150 east, just north of the overpass. It actually goes over a small creek there. Any questions on community crossings? Moving on, LPA call for projects. We finally got our award letter from this last call to the tune of $2,994,400 is a federal participation. They're 80%, broken down by fees there. As you'll recall, we originally got a letter saying, once we audit your ADA Title VI work, send you your award letter. So we submitted all of our Title VI ADA. All of it had recently been overhauled by USI, all the changes to courthouse and all the ADA compliance we've done. So that was all sent in. I've not received any correspondence from the review, but the fact that they sent the award letter must means that, we're checked off on somebody's list. So I did reach out to the Title VI ADA review requesting an update just so we have that for our records, but we are moving ahead on Bridge 67. This is 450 West, just north of 6, part of the Elkhart River chain. A lot of LPA projects, bridge projects in that area. So we are moving forward. I did have the early coordination meeting with NDOT last week, and we do have the RFP posted. So a little behind from where we would normally be this time of year, but a lot of that's due to the award being much later than normal. Any questions on Bridge 67's award? If not, we'll move on to our current LPA projects. The biggest news since your last meeting is we had a letting in July on Old State Road 3 project. That is a major structural overlay from Baseline Road to 205, basically a villa to layout. Engineer's estimate on this was nearly $4.9 million, with our anticipated 20% being nearly $1 million. Low bid was $3.27 million, and second low bid was 3.273, so we had less than a 10% on that $1.5 million underrun by Brooks and E&B. So I'm pretty confident in their bid. It's just perfect scope project for the perfect time. They're just, it all kind of worked out. There wasn't a ton of paving work on some of the, there were a few big NDOT contracts, but overall there wasn't a ton of this type of paving work in the area, so we really lucked out on that front. If you recall, we did an additional for $400,000 to help offset some of this. A majority of that additional is not even going to be needed now, so that is some good news. But moving forward, we did put in a claim to pay our 20% up front, which was $654,143.32. So that is moving forward. I expect the pre-con here sometime within the next month, and then we'll get that project lined up. Likely 2026 construction. I would assume EB will do the same as they did on 400 North, just knock it all out in a single calendar year.
Zach, on that additional, where will that, do you have a plan for that, or is it just comes back, or?
It'll just go back to cash balance. So back into our rainy day coffers, which could be another funding source, the building project comes with still have a healthy balance in the 1176.
What about the road out there, 100, is that,
That would be under different setups. So I did email them. That is on a local detour route reimbursable agreement with NDOT. So once the detour closure's done, they'll go video record it, and then we'll basically go back.
I meant before the closure, I meant that the detour didn't have anything to do with that road, did it?
Well, I mean, that's what we'll see. I certainly don't think it made it any better.
Right.
So, they record before and after, and then you basically barter about, how bad was it before, what is the appropriate amount of repairs. If you'll remember when Brimfield was closed, there's quite a bit of damage to our 600 North. We ended up repaving that whole area. They didn't actually pay for repaving, they paid for wedging damage. Generally paid $60,000, we ended up putting $100,000 in. End of the day, it doesn't really matter how you do the repairs, they just will pay the damage claim. As far as construction projects, we do have Bull Road, like I said, it did get paved. Pictures from that, but we had striping and signage go up last Thursday and Friday, so functionally speaking, it is open now. We'll still have to wait till the grass is done growing. I mean, we'll see how this season goes, but they want to make sure that all of the seed is taken before we go through closing the project out.
But it is open to traffic then.
As far as I know, they should have barricades pulled up this morning. And even if they didn't have them pulled out, that
People are using.
somebody had opened it, on Friday I know that the instructions were to open as soon as the signage was up. And then as far as our other projects, pretty good news. The next two that we have for lighting would be in February, which is Bridge 134, which is 245 East, to South 8, and the Bridge 69, which is over on Rochester Road, north of 6. Both of those were finalizing right away. Bridge 69, we completed all the parcel acquisitions, and we are moving to close on the last parcel on 134. Always like to make it through right away without having to go through condemnation. It's not a fun process for anybody. So good news on that front. And then we also have Bridge 59, which we'll have a letting fall of next year, working through getting construction inspection services. RFP was posted last month, and we're going through selection now. Everything, all the other projects are still early in design. We're continuing to push through some various permitting challenges. Any questions on the LPA projects? Last thing I had on the agenda, just continuation of the salary information. No new information on my part, but let's just put it on there. Open to any questions we may have, or discussion, but I assume we'll likely just cover that during the time.
Okay, any other questions for Zach?
No, as far as the horses, I mean, that's not gonna go away. I mean, what, I watched the video, commissioners meeting, you guys talked about that link, but, I mean, they're here to stay.
Mhm.
I mean, they pay their taxes and pay their plate tax, or plate, so, I think it's just something we gotta deal with.
And is it true that they're not even legally supposed to be on any state highways? Is that correct?
I don't know about that.
Somebody had told me that, I didn't know if that was, Gary?
I don't know of anything like that, no.
Okay,
No, our biggest request, I think, I mean, they are here to stay for sure, but I think the level of damage from this as opposed to a normal shoeing, is something maybe that we can just handle with regular discourse. I don't think there's, anything we can do by ordinance necessarily, but it's like, if they know this is costing us a lot more than it's saving them in horseshoes, and we don't wanna raise the tax rate exponentially higher, maybe there's something that we can take care
Well,
of.
if we're gonna discuss that, I think we need to discuss frost laws then with heavy trucks. I mean, I think that they do a lot more damage than, you know, when there's frost in the ground, kinda like what Michigan puts in place.
What's that?
It's basically trucking restrictions
Yeah,
during
certain
weather.
roads and level of roads, if they're the worst ones off, there's frost laws that, you know.
Huh.
So I think that's more of a discussion that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a give and take. I don't necessarily, whenever you put restrictions on trucking, it's obviously not great for economic development regardless of how you do it, so.
I don't think it is either for the Amish community. You know, I think they bring a big value to our community. So, that's, yeah, big value.
So if they quit using the tungsten thing on there.
I mean, it would be less,
Their major complaint is that the shoes wear out a lot more. I thought maybe it was slippage of the horse.
well, I think it might be, I think it's one of those things, you know, when they're being shoed, it's probably a relatively cheaper increase and it gives you either better traction or better longevity. But I just don't know if there's actually been any discourse back and forth. I mean, all we're really saying is, you know, there's certain roads that are damaged in a very specific way and then we're having to treat them more regularly.
To answer your question, Casey, as far as the frost law of trucks, if we go down that path, you might as well plan on hiring more employees, more equipment, because you can't enforce it.
That's
You gotta be able to weigh a truck.
How you gonna enforce the
I'm not talking about budget, I'm just saying the frost law of trucks, it's just
Well,
impossible. You got 2 or 3 weightmasters for the state police for 9 counties. You gotta be able to prove they're overweight.
I mean, overall, I think we're doing a good job at building roads that are gonna last. I mean, as soon as you do a new road, it's gonna depreciate. I mean, that's just how they work. So,
It's just like buying a new car and driving it off the lot.
and I think with new buggy plates going in, we can continue to make sure we're maintaining those areas that are rapidly depleting. Same thing with some of the bigger trucks. Whenever we've done reconstructions, we put a lot of focus on having a good sub-base. Before my time, a lot of the gravel roads would just get chip sealed without any sub-base repair. And obviously that was a losing strategy. So we've made a really good push over the last decade of really making the roads a lot more robust and making sure that, you know, we're staying in front of the damage. I would assume that's gonna continue. So despite the challenges, I think everything is going well.
Any other comments or questions for Zach? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And the health department is not coming today, correct?
They will be for that update. I can see if they can come up a little bit early.
We can finish the other 2
Yeah.
transfers.
They may be in here. They're just coming up for their quarterly updates for this. It won't be about the other issues, but they are coming up for their.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and handle the other,
Okay.
the remaining transfers.
Okay.
What you got first?
Go on to the next slide.
Here's my folder here. I've got Superior One, next on the agenda, which is, I think the same old thing, you know, either the physicians or this is for special appointments, they need, some extra dollars in there, so they're transferring from the physician's line items down to the special appointments.
Okay,
And this is, Judge Klaus's court.
$2,500, okay. Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And the last one, this is for, when I was working on a claim, in the courthouse budget, and I noticed that, we had a line item that was in the red. When they added that third custodian, earlier this year, we had not taken from permanent part-time, and that's what he was going to use, that permanent part-time money to pay for the new custodian, and we had transferred that down. So I seen that, and I kind of had to go back and figure out why it was like that, but that is the reason we just had not done that transfer from permanent. So, just asking, I kind of figured what we would need to pay him for the rest of the year, and I hope this will take care of it for us. Yes.
Questions? Okay. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So, we're done with the health department.
This is kind of an unusual, usually we're maybe
This is the way I run it.
Yeah, we'll have to tell Doug that
You don't have anything on the agenda, that's good.
Shoot. Don't know if you wanna take a small break, or if you want to,
You,
I can
see if you
call
can get a
them.
hold of them.
Okay, I can see, I don't know what their
And
number.
the other thing, Casey, you remember that Tom does, remember that studded snow tires, remember that years ago, everybody was running studded snow tires. And it ran from what, October first to April first?
Yeah.
You have them on, and you had to get them off, cause the pavement's warming
Hey
up.
Nicole, this is Jackie.
And,
I don't have
you know, they put
the
pressure on the back end of the
extension
horse.
number up here, I need to get hold of.
Here we are, we run tungsten, almost like a studded snow tire.
Tina's number,
But
yes.
I don't know if that law's still in effect anymore, I don't know if they did away with that one on studded snow tires, but I've had people ask me that. We had more studded snow
Thank you, I
tires.
appreciate it, already by,
I don't know. I don't know,
I just don't see how you have the manpower to do
you know.
all that stuff. I mean, you gotta, the lesser or the greater the
Tina,
evils,
I,
right?
that's what your
You gotta
number
take
was the
care
only
of.
one I could remember, but, we're running, ahead of schedule for the council. And I was wondering if you could either let Carrie or whoever was going to come up for that health department update. Yeah, that we're ready in time, okay?
Or you got one,
We'd have to get
All right,
scales.
thanks a lot, I appreciate it.
That'll work.
Oops.
Deputize the commissioners and